Hi guys! It feels so weird to be back after all of this time. It's literally been over a year since my last vlog. I think the last vlog title was like, we're having a baby this week, and I was 38 weeks pregnant, and I told you guys that I was gonna take a couple months off, adjust to motherhood, all of that. And then now it's been 15 months and we have been so busy caring for our sweet baby girl, Lucy. If you're following me on Instagram, you've seen Lucy along the way, but I haven't gotten to come back here. And I just want to thank you guys really quick. Thank you for being here right now and keeping up with me after all of this time. And thank you for all the messages and prayers. And you guys literally message me like every single day on Instagram, like, we miss you guys, come back, come back. When are you coming back? Are you coming back? But also being so respectful of, our space and the fact that our priority just needs to be Lucy right now. Like I appreciate that so much because so many of you guys are just so sweet, like every single day. And today I just wanted to catch up, check in, and let you guys know some of our story. It would be impossible for me to share the entire story just because I'd be sitting here for hours. But I want to share a story because I feel like it's really, really important to share and show up for Lucy and the bigger community of rare disease families that we're now a part of. Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to 2021. I had a scheduled induction. I talked to you guys all about this. I was high risk, so I was going to the doctor like every single week. All the scans were looking good. The induction was going smoothly, but after 24 hours and no progress, my doctor needed to go ahead and do a C-section. This C-section went smoothly. It was absolutely a mind-blowing experience. Like, if you've had a C-section, It wasn't my plan, but I was totally fine with it because that was the safe option for Lucy. And of course, that's what I'm going to do. And I got to meet my baby girl. It was such a wonderful moment to finally get to meet her. And it was really fast. I got to kiss her on the head one time, and then she had to go ahead and go to the NICU because I needed to observe her and give her extra oxygen. So Grant went with her. That's my girl. Oh my God.
Kiss?
So we're gonna go down to the NICU. She'll hang out with us. If you want to follow us, you can.
Yeah.
They took me to recovery. It was probably about an hour and a half until I got to be reunited with them in the NICU, and I got to hold her for the first time. And it was just like I just want to cry even thinking about it. It was just so wonderful. And going through everything we'd been to up until that moment, it was just like, we're finally here. There are no words, it's just the most love, And really, I feel like from the first moment, she was just the sweetest little bug. Call her Lucy Bug, so she's Bug a lot, but just so sweet from moment one, like fresh out, And it was just an unforgettable moment. And during that time where we're sitting in the NICU and we're actually just going to leave because she was doing well, the nurses are all busy around us, and I notice a little bit of like a twitching movement. It was very slight. She's really tiny. She's just, everything she does is very small. And I look up at Grant and I said, "Did you see that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And before we know it, it's over. We don't say anything else. We don't even know what we saw. We've never had a baby before, and it wasn't a big movement. It's hard to explain if you've never seen it before. And we move on. None of the nurses busy around us saw it, and we were taken out of the NICU. So happy to be parents, just like in awe of this baby girl, so excited to embrace our new life as parents. And we got to go all together to our little mommy baby room and have our first night together. And that next day, as I'm, learning how to breastfeed, taking care of my baby, learning so much about her and holding her like all day long, I see that same movement 2 more times, and both times I was like, Grant, come over here, record this right now. And he raced over and got clips both times that day. Finally, by midnight that night, we got a doctor to listen to us. Well, sort of listen to us. The NICU doctor was like, "Oh no, this is just like just dismiss it really. But finally, by midnight that night, we were headed down to the NICU with our brand new tiny little baby to get her first EEG. And if you don't know what an EEG is, it's basically a brain scan where they can see if it's seizure activity. It was the first of many nights filled with uncertainty and just unimaginable pain. And we just sat there with our baby in the NICU waiting for this EEG. We had to wait 7 hours. We got there at midnight. They didn't do it until 7 a.m. and I would not leave. And the nurses were just telling us, like, you need rest. You just had a C-section like yesterday. Go back to your room. You need your meds, you need your checks, whatever. And I was just like, I'm 100% not leaving. And it was such a hard night, but we held together and we stayed strong. And we got that EEG and it confirmed that she was having seizures. And I'm definitely not like a big crier by any means, but I've never cried so much in my life. I mean, I think it's pretty standard in the postpartum period. There are lots of tears. It is a hard time, but our situation was different. We were in the NICU. I had just had a C-section and we're wheeling me down to the NICU and I don't want to leave for any reason. I don't care about my incision. I don't care about my medicine. I don't care about anything. Like, I just need to be with this baby. And it was just like, my heart was ripped out to be away from her for any reason. I mean, I think any new mom feels that way. But after they did that first EEG, they went ahead and put her on some seizure medication. It calmed her seizures down, and we were actually able to get discharged after about like 5 days. It was like a normal amount of time. Before we left, we talked to a neurologist, and he was so awesome because he recommended we get this genetic testing. And he's like, you know, this could just be like first days of life thing. This could be this, that, it could be nothing. But let's just go ahead and cover our bases, take this test. We'll do a seizure panel. And so we did that testing and we made a follow-up appointment with him in a month and took our baby home. And it was so wonderful to get to bring her home because I was so scared that I was gonna have to leave her in the NICU. That was a very real possibility for us. And getting home with Lucy was just so incredible. Just like all those firsts, as first-time parents, you know, all the little outfits and having her sleep in our room and feeding her and changing her and just all those new baby things. It was just so incredible. And you guys know how much we looked forward to her arriving, and it was just so wonderful. And obviously we had this fear in the back of our minds, and I was watching her like a hawk. But we were having some really beautiful, special moments. But after a couple of weeks, I saw that her seizures were back. I recorded one. We got in earlier than our month appointment, and they immediately admitted us back into the hospital because they were really concerned. Like, when we had this conversation with the neurologist, she just went on, and I couldn't even count the amount of times she said, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. This is very concerning. And I was just like, so off we went to the hospital, got admitted, and it was hell, to be honest with you. Grant had to work. I was with her in the hospital, and she started having more seizures than she'd ever had before. And she was on like full video EEG. She was hooked up to a million things. I was feeding her. I was pumping. You know, we had so much going on. And basically every single doctor in that entire hospital came in, and I had to tell our story at least 70 times that day. It was so hard. And finally, they added on another seizure medication, and that seemed to calm them down a little bit. She was still having them, but it was getting better. And just after that, she ended up developing necrotizing enterocolitis, which is extremely rare for a full-term baby that's already weeks old. And it happened so fast. It was so terrifying, even for the doctors. We were having to just rush her around the hospital for scan after scan, and I was just continuously changing diapers that were just blood. I'm sorry to be graphic, but it was so scary. And I cried my eyes out when they placed her first NG tube because she was crying, and they let me carry her all around the hospital, all the places we need to go, and we were all over the place, and finally to the what I call the scary side of the NICU. And it scared me even more that they were letting me carry her because it almost felt like they didn't think she was going to make it, and they wanted me to have as much time as I could with her. And I don't know how to explain how that feels. And if you've never been in that situation, I'm sure it's very hard to imagine, but it was the most painful thing. And to have that fear and to see the fear in the doctors when they don't know what to make of this situation, and to have her hooked up to every single thing imaginable. There were just tears streaming down my face, and I was trying to keep it together as we went along and did every single thing we needed to do, because in that situation, you don't have the option to crumble, and you don't have the option to just say, I can't do this, because you have to, because your baby needs you. Our tiny little brand new baby was hurting so much and struggling so much, and there was nothing we can do. We were doing everything we could possibly do, and there just weren't answers. And it was so hard, and it was so hard to watch her struggle, and it hurt so deeply. And we just lived in the hospital with her, and Grant had to work on and off, of course, and he tried to have as much flexibility as possible, and he was there as much as possible. But I was just in those rooms. She moved around the hospital several times, and I was just in the room with her and didn't leave almost ever. We had nights where we didn't think that she was gonna make it. We had to call our parents and tell them, like, we don't know what's gonna happen. And it was just a pain that we'd never known before, and all we wanted was for our baby to live and be able to come home with us, was all we wanted. So her genetic testing actually came back during this time when we were in the hospital. She was in the NICU. We were trying to get her back eating, just living with her in her NICU room. It was just a curtain on the bad side of the NICU. And one day, a neurologist and a social worker came in and are like, we need to talk to you. Let's go to this other room. And honestly, I was reluctant to go to another room with them because I'd have to leave her, but it seemed like I had to. With so many emergency situations happening every day, and we're just struggling to make it to the next hour, these genetic testing results were the last thing on my mind. That probably seems crazy, but when you're in the thick of the situation, you are living moment to moment. So we went with them, and they handed us pages from the National Organization for Rare Diseases. She was diagnosed with STXBP1, which is a rare neurodevelopmental disorder caused by a genetic change in a protein that is part of signaling between neurons in the brain. It's almost always an original change for the child, and it's not inherited. Right now, I think there's about roughly 1,000 people with this diagnosis worldwide. It was just found and identified in 2008, which is relatively recently. About 85% of people with STXBP1 have epilepsy, so that's a pretty common thread, but some don't have epilepsy at all. There are also a wide range of other symptoms to varying degrees, like global delay, cognitive impairment, movement disorders, hypotonia, and autism, and even more than that. And just before I get too far into this, I just want to say STXBP1 was not caused by anything happening in pregnancy, in my life, like IVF or lupus. Like, this was not something that was caused. It was a spontaneous change that happened. But in that moment, we didn't know all of those things. We didn't have time to read, and we were just in this little room with a neurologist and a social worker telling us that we don't know anything about this. It's very rare. There's no cure. There's no treatment. The only thing that you can do is try to manage seizures, because they come and go, they change over time. Look out for this certain kind of seizures, and also do therapy to encourage development. And we had a few questions, but you don't even know where to begin in that moment. And they did say, oh, well, she's probably never gonna walk, and different things like that, which is true for some. And they just said that that's what we have, and we just wanted to get out of there and be together and talk and be with Lucy, because she's still in her room in the NICU. So we ended up actually staying in the hospital for about 6 weeks during that time, that first long hospital stay. And we were working on her seizure control, healing her necrotizing enterocolitis, which actually came up twice, and then also addressing her aspiration while feeding. And it was a really, really hard time for us. I mean, I was very freshly postpartum. She was very tiny. But our love for Lucy and our love for our family and our support from our family is what carried us through. And something that I learned, immediately after she was born is how to recognize and follow through with my instincts as a mom, because every single time I've seen something and I've called something out as something for concern, I've always been right. And, from that first moment where I said, "Did you see that?" That was the first time I proved myself as a great mom for Lucy. And every single time since then, like every single seizure she's had, I've been the one that's been, hey, this is happening. I record it, I time it, I let the doctors know. I am the expert on Lucy, and I have a lot of confidence as a mom. My love for her, my bond with her is so strong. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what gives me strength, and that's what carries me through. And sitting alone in that hospital, not alone because I was with Lucy and I was with the greatest nurses ever. I just have to say, like, NICU nurses are literal angels, but like I found strength in that, knowing like if anyone's going to be an expert on this baby, it's me, and it has to be me. This is my job. This is my purpose, I'm getting off topic. Finally, after that whole hospital stay, we came home with an NG tube, which she kept for a couple of months, PT and speech multiple times every single week, tons of follow-ups with different specialists. We're just constant appointments with Lucy, and that carries through to today. Around 3 months, we went for her first appointment in Philadelphia at the Children's Hospital. That is one of the centers for STXBP1. And so during that first hospital stay, we made that appointment. We're like, we're getting in. We don't care how little she is. We are coming to you guys. And it was so amazing to finally get to talk to people that didn't immediately look at us and say, we don't know what that is, because we have heard that from almost everyone, even at a wonderful hospital in Dallas with really great doctors. This is a rare disease, and it just felt so great to have people get it. Since then, we've been back to CHOP 2 times. We absolutely love the team there. It's a big trip for a little baby, but it's so worth it. So moving forward, throughout her first 6 months, we were in and out of the hospital, a few weeks out, a weekend, and it just repeated the cycle. And it was for many different reasons. And I just knew, if I'm taking my baby to the ER, which was not an irregular thing, we're probably going to stay. And, I had my little ER packing list, just like you have a packing list for any other baby going to see grandma. And it was just a really, really intense time. And you were just so solely focused on keeping this baby going, And I remember something that I feel like I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. One night, Grant was there. He had come back from work, and he would sleep with us there at the hospital. He was with Lucy, so I actually left the room and came down to get us dinner from the cafeteria, and I was going to bring it back up. And I was waiting in line. It was kind of like a group, and there was a lady standing there, and she was looking at the menu, kind of questioning, like, what do I get? And I was like, oh, hey, well, this is good, this is good, this is good, because they had a surprising number of good things. And she just goes, it's really sad when you know what's good. And then she kind of trailed off. And I know she was going to say, it's kind of sad to know what's good at the children's hospital, because it's true. She's right. But I was so stunned, I didn't even say anything back. But I just feel like I'm always going to remember that moment. I'm always going to remember that time we spent in the hospital there, because I don't know, you just realize that you're like living on a different planet. Your focus is so different. Your world is so small. Your whole world is in that room that your baby is in. And there are so many other families, living that life. And, whenever you come through the parking garage of the Children's Hospital in Dallas and you see cars with people in them late at night, or like with blankets up over the windows, and you're like, these people are like living here because maybe they live really far away, or they just can't stay in the room, or whatever. It's just another world, and we lived in that world for a long time. That whole time was so hard for us, and it definitely really sticks with you. Here I am sitting here so much time later, and I remember every single moment. But since then, when people ask, like, how are you doing? How's Lucy? We're perfect. Like, any day out of the hospital is better than a day in. Like, I just have a different perspective. I have a different appreciation, and We are loving life, not in the hospital. I'm so happy to say she spent most of this year out of the hospital, and she's actually over a year seizure free at this point. We absolutely celebrated that day. And that doesn't mean that she will always be seizure free. That's just how this thing goes. They can come and go and change over the years. It's unpredictable. And many STX people have uncontrolled seizures, so we know how lucky we are, and I know how painful that is. Seeing your baby have seizures throughout the day, every day, it's just, I say it's like your house is on fire. There is nothing else in the world. This is what's happening, and there's almost nothing you can do about it, and it is a very unique pain. So fast forward to now, Lucy is doing amazing. She is the light of our lives. We are so blessed to be her parents. She is so determined. She works so hard in therapy all the time. She is so brave. She loves people. She loves to play. She loves to laugh. She smiles so much. She is just the sweetest angel on the planet. I know every mother feels like that, but you know what? You gotta believe me, it is true in this situation. I actually didn't know the meaning of her name when we named her, and we actually named her a couple of days after she was born. But my sister told me, my sister Kristen, she actually looked it up, and the meaning of her name is Light of the People. Her name is Lucy Leota, after her great-grandmother, Leota. And that is just so perfect and so meant for her. And I truly believe that everything in my life has led me to be her mom. And it is a really special job, and it is incredibly demanding, but I love her so much, and my bond with her is so special to me, and I just feel so lucky that I get to be her mom. So now bringing you to today, I know the story has been really long, but our schedule is still absolutely insane. Constant therapy. We also do intensives, of course, follow up with doctors all the time. So we just have constant appointments like every single day. And it's a wild schedule for a baby, but that's our life. And right now in therapy, we're working on feeding, fine motor skills, and sitting independently. It's very exciting. And we and her doctors also have really high hopes that she will walk someday. It could be years from now. She could be 5 years old. She could also always need a wheelchair, but we are on Lucy's timeline. We respect that. We love it. We love her timeline. We love every inch she gets, and we never compare her to anyone else. We do absolutely everything we can for Lucy every single day. Like, I know I will never look back and say, oh, I wish we should have taken this option or whatever. Like, if we hear about it, we're doing it. Like, you know how we are. We're doing the most, but right now, currently, there is no cure for STXBP1. There's no treatment. This is a lifelong disorder. This is not something that anybody grows out of. Lucy will need care always. You know, we haven't heard of an STXBP1 person living independently, but there is a lot of really important research happening. There are clinical trials, there are treatments on the horizon that could change the lives of STXBP1 families. We have a parent-led group called the STXBP1 Foundation, and all donations go directly towards research and education towards finding a cure for this rare disease. And I know it's very unlikely that you've ever met a person with STXBP1 or a family, but you know us, you know me, and you're gonna meet Lucy, and donations go to helping families just like mine. So you can go to a link. I'm gonna put the link right here. I'll also put the link in the description. Any amount helps, because the only way forward for us is awareness and funding, because rare diseases don't get the same attention that other diseases get. You could also go and learn more about STX, read more, and I think there's even photos from the conference that we had this year. We brought Lucy, and it was so amazing. Getting to see so many faces, meet so many people, make friendships. This is such a rare disease, but the community is so strong and so motivated, and these parents are so inspiring. And I hate to ask for donations. I don't think I've ever asked for donations before. But honestly, I don't hate to ask for donations, because this is what I'm here for. I've realized this is why I've built my platform for the past 10 plus years on Target hauls and makeup and whatever else. Like, this is why I'm here, to raise awareness and raise funding for finding a treatment for STXBP1. It is a rare disease, so it doesn't get the same attention that other diseases get. And I'm reaching out to you guys. I'm telling our story because it's a story you've probably never heard before, and it is important to connect. I could just go on and on and on forever and ever and ever, but if you find it in your heart, it will mean so much, and any amount helps. And I appreciate you guys being here so much. I feel like I'm losing my light. I've been here for so long, and I could just talk forever and ever and ever, but quickly, an update about the future of my channel. I would love to say I'm back. I'm gonna be making videos every week. I miss it so much. I miss you guys so much. It's so fun making vlogs, but my priority is Lucy, and my other priority is keeping stress down. So I wanna be back making videos, but I also don't wanna make any promises. So definitely stick around, and definitely follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I am on Instagram and I try to be there as much as I can. And I love talking to you guys over there. Oh, you know what? I was gonna call Grant and Lucy in here for the end of this video, so hold on. All right, I'm back with the whole crew, my little family. Here's Miss Lucy Bug. Hi guys. Miss Lucy is in need of a nap, so this is gonna be a quick appearance. This is our little Grant. Everyone says she is Grant to a T, and then other people say she looks just like my mom. So it's kind of like, maybe not a 50-50 split. I feel like more people think she looks like you, but she's beautiful. She's our favorite little person in the whole wide world. So is there anything that you want to add?
I want to say thank you all for listening to our story and Lucy's story. And thank you to LeighAnn for being such an amazing mom. And being so dedicated and, you know, really sacrificing so much to take such great care of Lucy. So there's one more update we have to give you guys. I'll be back. There's something else we got to show you.
What? This is a surprise. This is a surprise to me. Oh, Miss Luna. Luna had to come say hi too, because I know
Luna
a lot
wanted
of
to
you
be part of
guys
the family update too.
miss Luna.
She's doing good. Her and Lucy are friends. They kind of keep their distance though.
Yeah, they keep their distance.
Yeah.
Lucy is very interested in Luna. She loves Luna so much. Yeah, do you see Miss Luna Bean? All right, well, I'm sure this video has been a million years long. I appreciate you guys being here so much. Definitely keep checking in. Definitely find me on Instagram. I appreciate your support so much. Please be kind and respectful in the comments. Thanks. I love you. Bye.